All right, let's dive into one of the most challenging parts of the English exam world, IELTS Writing Task 1. My goal here is pretty simple. We're going to demystify this whole thing and build you a practical toolkit for success.
So what is the real secret to getting a high score? I mean, if you've ever found yourself just staring at a bar chart, completely frozen, you know it's about more than just knowing English. It's about having a very specific strategy and the right tools for the job.
And here's the good news. It all really boils down to mastering just 3 key areas. So over the next few minutes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to build that toolkit together, piece by piece, so you walk away with a clear plan. Let's grab our first tool.
First up, let's talk about your grammar power-ups. Now, don't hear the word grammar and tune out. Think of it as the engine for your writing. It's what gives you precision. Getting this right is what separates a pretty good description from a truly great one.
You know, it's kind of surprising, but a huge amount of data description relies on just a handful of very common irregular verbs. Especially when you're describing past trends on a graph, these little guys become absolutely essential for being accurate.
Just take a look at these. Fall, grow, rise. You will use these constantly. So here's the key takeaway. You have got to know all 3 forms of these verbs like the back of your hand. A simple mistake here and it can really undermine everything else you write.
And here is a classic trap that's so easy to fall into under pressure. Mixing up fell, as in something dropped, with felt, as in a feeling. The numbers fell sharply makes perfect sense. The numbers felt sharp, well, that doesn't really mean anything in this context. They're totally different words, so you've got to watch out for that one.
Okay, ready to level up? Let's talk about the future perfect tense. This is your go-to tool for describing a future milestone. It's not just about what will happen, but about what will have been completed by a specific point in time. Using this correctly adds a real layer of sophistication to your writing.
And this comparison shows the difference perfectly. Saying a project will finish is fine. It's correct. But saying it will have finished is so much better. It shows the examiner you're looking back from that future point in 2030 at a task that's already done. It's precise, it's advanced, and it shows real control.
All right, next up in our grammar toolkit, conditionals. Specifically, the first conditional. This is what you use when you're talking about real, possible things that could happen in the future. The rule is simple and you just can't break it. The if part of the sentence always uses the present simple tense.
Now, this is one of the most common mistakes people make. That little word would simply does not belong in the if part of a first conditional sentence. It's never, if I wouldn't pass, it's if I don't pass. Getting this right is such a clear sign that you're a confident English speaker.
All right, our grammar engine is all tuned up. Now let's move on to our second tool. This is all about using the right words to paint a vivid, accurate picture of the data for your reader. It's about word power.
You have to get beyond just increase and decrease. Those words are fine, but they're a little boring. Ask yourself, did the numbers surge? Did they soar to a new peak? Or did they plummet? Each of these verbs tells a totally different story and adds so much more precision. And it's not just what happened, but how it happened. And that's where these adverbs are your best friends. Did sales fall sharply or did they decline gradually? Adding just one of these little words completely changes the picture you're painting. They are small, but they have a huge impact. Let's just zoom in on one of these powerful words, soar. It doesn't just mean go up. It means to go up really fast and to a really high point. It creates this strong mental image, almost like a rocket taking off. And here it is in action. This sentence is so much more dynamic than just saying profits increased. The word soar does all the heavy lifting here, painting a clear and dramatic picture. This is exactly what we're aiming for.
So we have our grammar and we have our vocabulary. The final tool for our toolkit is the strategic blueprint, understanding the basic rules of the game for task 1. These aren't just about language, they're about your entire approach to the task.
This is the big one. Rule number 1, absolutely no speculation. Your job is to be a reporter, not a commentator. You only describe what is in the chart. So even if you are 100% sure you know why the numbers dropped, you cannot say it. If it's not in the data, it cannot be in your report, period. Rule number 2 is all about your tone. This is an academic task, so your language has to be formal and objective. You want to avoid those conversational phrases like, the answer is crystal clear, or what's the bottom line? Instead, stick to more neutral academic language like the data indicates or the figures suggest. Finally, let's talk about the summary, or the overview.
This is where you describe the big story of the graph. What's the most important trend or the biggest change you see? You need to summarize this main pattern in just 2 or 3 sentences, and, this is critical, do not include specific numbers or data points here. Those details belong in the main body paragraphs, not in the summary.
And there you have it. You have just built a super powerful toolkit for mastering IELTS Writing Task 1. This isn't about some kind of magic formula. It's about having a clear, repeatable system that you can use to get a great score.
So, let's recap what's in your new toolkit. You've got your grammar power-ups for precision. You've got your vocabulary for making an impact, and you've got your strategic blueprint for following the rules of the game. If you focus on these 3 areas, you can totally transform your approach to this task.
The only thing left now is to put these tools into practice. So, take a look at the toolkit we've just built. Which of these tools are you going to work on first? Will you practice those irregular verbs, build up your vocabulary, or really perfect writing those summaries? Your path to a high score starts right now.